Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and we have some very awesome news coming into the Microsoft Flight Simulator world today. Everything from BeyondATC is announcing a release plan, Inibuilds A300 600, LatinVFR's A340, and more. Stick around. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides from Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below.
Overkill simulations, watch us as we fly. Overkill simulations, a thrill will never die.
All right, you guys, so as I said, we have a ton to cover today. So I'm going to start with the big banger. I know that everyone's wondering about BeyondATC and what is going to be released. So first off, let me just get it out of the way. We do not have a release date yet, but don't go away. Don't get all discouraged yet. Stay with me. What we do have is an agreement. So last week, BeyondATC on their official Discord launched a campaign, or a poll if you will, to determine whether or not the community wanted to wait for BeyondATC to have features such as the AI traffic injection, as well as traffic control and traffic response from ATC, or if they wanted an early access version, basically the same version that you guys see me posting on my channel. I'll have another video out with it today, by the way, where it's just IFR and the full communication from player to sim. And overwhelmingly, and it was fine too, because I told Cap last week, the lead developer, I told him when he first announced this, I said, I can tell you right now what the answer is going to be. And I was right. You guys overwhelmingly said, yeah, we want it now. We want it now. So they have agreed. They are going to release the product with an early access version. Now, I want to make this very clear. Everybody has a lot of issues with early access. They're all excited. They're all hyped up. They're all ready for it. They're like, yes, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. But then when they have it and they forget that it is early access, next you know they're pissed off and they're upset and they're, oh, there's so many bugs. This never should have been released. So I want to clarify to everyone what early access really means. If you are purchasing anything, the same thing as DCS World. DCS World used to hear it all the time. People would lose their minds or talk about the bugs that are on DCS World Open Beta. Okay, so early access, beta, they basically still mean the same thing. Early access is a little different. It's a little more polished, but it means that you are purchasing and using a product that is still under development, that is still being worked on, that is still being polished out. So let's first talk about what you're gonna get. Again, you're gonna get the full IFR functionality, just like what you guys see on my videos. So you're gonna get you can do PyReps, you're going to have your IFR traffic, you're going to have SIDS and stars, you're going to have vectoring, okay? The ATC will actually vector you to your runway on your approaches. Requesting altitude changes, transition changes, all kinds of really cool stuff that you can still do with it. So all the functionality that you guys have seen over my videos and Cap's videos over on the BeyondATC YouTube channel, which if you have not checked it out, please do so. All that will be there. You may still run into bugs. You may still have issues as new patches and new features come into it. There may still be problems. You may run into new bugs. That is the nature of early access. That is the nature of any software that is still being developed, because any new feature can change. And when we're talking about flight simulation, we have so many different softwares that interact with each other. Do you guys even realize? Let's talk about the average IFR pilot running commercial. Okay, you're going to have BeyondATC, you're going to have Navigraph charts, and this is just on average, right? Some of this software may change, so bear with me. BeyondATC, Navigraph charts, you're going to have maybe GSX, you might have, I don't know, Rex Weather Force or Rex Ground Textures, little nav map maybe, spad.next in my opinion, if you're using it for your controls. You're going to have, I mean, that's just to name a few: OpenTrack, BeamTrack IR, VR, whatever it may be. You're going to have all these different things that are constantly integrating with the sim. So what makes these kind of releases before anyone can say, well, it should all be tested before it's released. Can't happen. It can't happen. We all have so many different configurations. Now, the only reason why I'm going into this tangent is because on the one side, I am with you guys. I want it out. I want it released. I want to hear you guys' responses. I can't wait to hear you guys' comments about how great it is. And I know you guys have been waiting for a long time. And so that's a big deal to me too. There have been multiple times where I have been asking Cap on the back end, when is this happening? Can I give any information out? Can I tell these guys it's soon? You know, and that's why I've been really careful about what I've said. So I'm going into this tangent just to make sure that everyone understands when you say early access, what you are getting. Any product that is currently in development can be perfectly working today, and with the next release just on your machine may break with the next patch. So just keep that in mind before you buy it. Understand what you're getting into. Early access is early access is early access. Okay, it is a few steps above beta. The features that are out should be relatively polished. Your negative functionality or negative impact should be minimal in comparison to a beta, where like beta, you are looking for bugs. It is a bug hunt, essentially, is what betas are. So just keep that in mind, okay? Because it does not matter who releases what product. Like I said, it goes all the way back to DCS World and everything else that I've ever seen. If it is an early access version, there's always someone who comes up screaming and yelling, this is crap, it never should have been released. You knew it when you bought it that it wasn't done. So just keep that in mind. Now, I am super excited for this. I cannot wait. And as soon as I hear more, guys, like I said, I'm in close contact with the developer. I talk to him on almost a daily basis. So as soon as I have information, as soon as he says, Mike, send it, you'll hear when the release date is. All right. So, and just for anyone who may be catching up still, it is going to be at $30 US. You will only have to ever put in extra money if you want to use the premium voices. The last 2 videos that I have done are using the default or basic freeware voices that you will never have to pay for ever again after buying the software. So if you guys are interested in what those look like, just go to my channel, look at the videos, do a search, type BeyondATC, and the last 2, and actually they're probably in the top couple lists, so you probably don't even have to search for them. But the last 2 videos were with the basic version. I will be doing another video today with BeyondATC where we'll be back to the premium voices for those who are really interested. And this time, guys, we're going to try a video across the pond. Okay, so all of you Europe folks, hopefully you guys will be able to hear things that are interesting to you. If I make mistakes, I'm going to give you guys a heads up in my verbiage and in the flight plan and things like that. I think I've flown in Europe commercially 3 times in my simulation career. I know, shame on me. I'm sorry. But today will be number 4. All right, let's move on. All right, so next, real quick, I wanted to get another round of attention out to Beam Eye Tracker, and I'm going to tell you guys why in just a minute here. So I have now been using Beam for a few days now, been using it exclusively, and I've had to move my camera from a couple different setups. So before we get into this, I'm going to show you guys what the 2 setups are that I primarily switch this between. So I'm going to pick you guys up. So first, here's the desk. Here's the steering wheel, okay, for American Truck Simulator. And I also do some flying over here too. That is a 49-inch super ultra-wide monitor. And then I also have the Magic Point. Ooh, what's that FCU over there? Huh, I wonder what that is. Anyway, we have the cockpit over there where all the magic takes place, right? Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys my honest experiences. I'm going to tell you guys who I think it's for. I'm going to tell you guys what the specials we have going on right now are. So first off, let's talk about the price point. $30 US. However, right now you guys can see for the next 1 day and 20 hours, 14 minutes and 0 seconds, you guys can pick this up for 10% off using the April Fool's code. I do recommend buying the standalone version over the Steam version. However, there is a caveat. If you are interested in doing a trial version, they just extended. Unfortunately, this is not retroactive, but they just extended for new downloads the trial period up to 3 hours. Okay, so you get 3 hours to check it out. And I think that's really good because that's easily a full commercial flight or a full long flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So that's good. But when you are ready to purchase it, I always recommend staying away from third-party requirements such as Steam. So I recommend purchasing from the website and downloading it initially. And that's exactly what I did. And then just uninstalled it from Steam. That way you don't have to worry about it. Now, also remember, guys, if you are, I've seen a couple comments where people are struggling. Make sure you're using OpenTrack. OpenTrack, all you have to do is Google it, guys. OpenTrack, all one word. I'll show you, actually. Here, let's do this real quick. Okay, let's just do this. OpenTrack. That's it, right there. Top hit. Okay, that's OpenTrack. And then you just come right here and go to releases. Okay, and download that and make sure it is running as well. Okay, and I'll try to remember to put a link to this in the description down below. Okay, so that's the first thing. You want to make sure that you're using it with. Make sure that you follow the instructions. There is a guide on how to set it up with OpenTrack. And that guide automatically pops up. There's a window that says, go to the guide. Automatically pops up when you turn game exclusion mode on, which you want to do for Microsoft Flight Simulator, ATS, DCS World. You want to do that, ideally, okay? I have found the best performance by doing so. And then at that point, OpenTrack, I believe, is required. So make sure that you do that and make sure you follow the guide. The guide is like 5 steps. There isn't much to it, but if you miss one of them, you're going to get frustrated, okay? So now let's talk about why I am still recommending this so wholeheartedly and who's it for. So first, who are you for? If you do not have a head tracking system and you are looking into one, and especially if you already own a webcam, by the way, on the webcam, I just purchased a second one of the webcams that I'm currently talking to you on, and that is a Logitech ProStream 1080p. Nothing fancy. It cost me $40 on Amazon. And I bought a second one that way I could have one always on the cockpit and always on my desk and be good to go, and I don't have to keep switching them. At the same token, the benefit that I have really experienced over the last couple of days is it takes me about 4 seconds to swap this, plug it into the USB port over there, really quickly run the configuration on Beam. And by configuration, I just mean the eye calibration and telling it where the camera is. That's it. You just hit the calibrate and it all pops up. Takes me about 60 seconds to go through it. And then launch OpenTrack and I'm good to go. And I've had a flawless time with it. Last night I was doing American Truck Simulator for about, I don't know, coming up on 3 hours, I think. And my office was dark. I'm talking like from 10 o'clock at night until like 12:30 at night. I was doing that. And kids were asleep, all that 9 yards. So the house was dark and I had zero problems with it. The only thing that I did do in something like American Truck Simulator, because I didn't, and stress this next part, because I did not feel like going through the mappings in OpenTrack, I just disabled the Z-axis and I disabled the X-axis because I kept slightly shifting, and again, it works really well. So my vision point kept shifting. As far as Tobii goes, there was a lot of hit back and forth about Tobii. Some people agree with me, some people don't. I am not trying to badmouth Tobii, and I said that in my last 2 videos. My thing with Tobii is 2 things. Number 1, what I personally experienced was that with OpenTrack installed, if I ever wanted to use my Track IR, like on the cockpit, initially my plan was to have Tobii on one, Track IR on the other. And if I had Tobii even installed, it did not have to be running. If I just had it installed, I couldn't use my Track IR. I couldn't use OpenTrack. It would fail. It would never detect the camera. So I would have to completely uninstall the Tobii software. So that was pain in the ass, number 1. Number 2 was I did not have the greatest tracking experience. It was okay as long as you were close enough. The mount for Tobii, by the way, guys, is right underneath the monitor that I just showed you. Okay, it is. I'm literally staring at the mount for it. Okay, now, as far as the software goes, I did not know, and somebody pointed out, I never really bothered to look, my fault, that OpenTrack also has Tobii Eye Tracker 5 as an option as an input source, which means theoretically you should be able to completely uninstall the Tobii software, open up OpenTrack, select Tobii as your tracking source, and everything should work fine. But again, I believe the limitation that it has to be under your monitor, and there is absolutely a distance limitation with Tobii. We'll talk about that in just a minute. That I just didn't want to deal with. You know, on my cockpit over there, having Tobii underneath the monitor would not work, and I'll show you why. If you guys look back over there, oh, look, there's that FCU again. Look at the 6-pack plus that's there on your left, okay? It normally goes in the center of the monitor where Tobii would have to be mounted. So that wasn't going to work for me. That was a pain in the butt and something I had to contend with. And that cockpit is as low as it can go, and I don't want my monitors any higher, much less the height they would have to be for Tobii to work. I'd be looking at the screen like this. I don't want to do that. So a lot of limitations not being able to put it up on top of the monitor. Okay, finally, let's talk about the distance thing. I never tested Toby much further beyond this, but I do know that when I got to about here with Toby, it used to do some goofy stuff. Where with this, what I did last night as a test, because in preparation of this video, is I went all the way back here. Now, it did fine with these kind of movements, but obviously my eye tracking went to crap. I will admit that, especially in a dark room, and that was probably the key factor, was that my room was dark, as I stated. But what I did was I took the camera, went into the camera settings, zoomed the picture in, all my problems went away. Okay? So for $30 US, you guys, it is a great bang for the buck. And it is a game changer. If you are on a laptop, most laptops already have webcams built into them, so you don't have to worry about it. You just launch the software. Again, probably need OpenTrack, depending on the game, and you're good to go. For people who were talking about the base software automatically integrating with Microsoft Flight Simulator, I don't use that. I do not use that. I use OpenTrack for everything. Now, the other thing that I did with OpenTrack, by the way, guys, everything in the beam settings is default. I changed none of it. All of my configuration, mapping changes, the smoothness, range of motion, all of that, I did inside of OpenTrack. The only thing that if I wanted to change it, which last night driving ATS, I did not feel the need to, but the only thing that I would have to change inside of Beam is the eye response rate. Is the eye range of motion, how far, if I turn my eyes this far, how far does the camera turn? I would have to do that inside of Beam. How quickly, how reactive, if my eye just barely twitches, is the camera going to respond? Okay, the eye responsiveness, that's something I would have to adjust inside of Beam. But anything regard to my head tracking, I used OpenTrack for. Everything else inside of Beam is default, and I'm loving it. OpenTrack is very easy to manipulate. It's very easy to use and configure. Very black and white, very default. There isn't much to it. So that's just a real quick touch on that. I know that, let's see here. I'm already at 9 minutes talking about this, so I'm going to jump off it. I do recommend it. If you guys are interested in purchasing it, link down in the description below. Next up, we're going to talk about the A300 600 review, or Inibuilds A300 600 review that FS Elite put out. FS Elite does a really great job with their reviews because they really dive very, very deeply into it. And I think this is one of the most comprehensive and detailed reviews I've seen them do yet. I'm not going to go through it all, but I'm going to have a link to this down in the description below. And I want to show you guys a real quick highlight of the things and how in depth they get with their review and how well they did with this aircraft. I have yet to buy the Inibuilds A300 600. And after reading this myself, I'm going to today. Okay, so you guys will see this aircraft reaching the channel here. So first off, they give you a background of the aircraft. They talk about the installation. They talk about the updates of the aircraft has already received and how quickly Inibuilds is responding to bugs and issues. Exterior modeling, interior modeling and texturing with all the screenshots and things to support their statements. The EFB and the systems, the breakdown, talking about all the functionality all the way down to the APU, hydraulics, electronics, and the linkage systems. The flight model, breaking it down. Sound, immersive experience, and what they feel the immersive experience is. Performance of the aircraft and how it affects them. Also giving you guys a base frame of how they are testing this. They did absolutely amazing. A conclusion of the aircraft and their bottom line response to it. They really did a very, very good job detailing this aircraft and breaking it down piece by piece. Like I said, this was one of the best reviews of theirs that I think I've ever read. And I've been reading their reviews for a long time. I've been following FS Elite since the days of my initial days of P3D, version 3.5, I think it was. So I've been coming to FS Elite for a long time. I will have a link to this down in the description. Make sure that you guys check it out. I think this is a big one. And I highly recommend you guys read through it all in detail before purchasing the Inibuilds A300. And I think just like me, after you've completed reading it, you're going to be really excited about the purchase of this aircraft. Finally, last on our list, we have, well, not last on our list, sorry. Next on our list, we have LatinVFR's A340 300 is set to release by the end of this month, being April of 2024. Now, LatinVFR is the first one to really pump out a 4-engine Airbus aircraft. The only other 4-engine aircraft that we really have of this type is obviously the 747, being, my opinion, the only one worth mentioning, the Salty 747. That can be found on the fly-by-wire installer. So it's going to be very, very awesome to have another large body, wide body, long range delivery aircraft. And the 4-engine planes are just, it doesn't really matter. They're cool. It doesn't, there's something about saying, for example, the 777 has probably twice the range, twice the power. I mean, just more advanced in every level of, and even coming close to that of the 747. But it doesn't look as cool as the 747 because it only has 2 engines instead of 4. Let's just call it what it is. Okay, 4 is better than 2, even if it's not. Okay. So it's going to be really exciting to see another 4-engine aircraft. Now, what can you expect from LatinVFR aircraft? The reason why they have my respect is because they don't ever try to state it's more than it is. They have flat out said, quote unquote, this is going to be a mid-level aircraft with basic flight systems that will get you from A to B. So I imagine you're going to have to be able to do standard IFR routes, but it's not going to have all the advanced features. It's not going to be anywhere near like even fly-by-wire. It's not going to be anywhere near the Phoenix, okay? But it's going to be a comfortable aircraft that is still fun to fly. They've done a really good job with the cockpit modeling. The flight deck looks great, okay? But you're not going to be expecting high tier, top tier, study level aircraft. And what I really like about LatinVFR is they always say that right from the start. From the time they first announced their, what was it, A319, the A320, they said the same thing. This is not study level. This is more for a casual simmer, blah, blah, blah. Now, what they didn't say, that what they said differently about this one that was different than before was they said mid-level. Where before they didn't say mid-level with the 320 and 319 series. So I'm wondering if this is going to be a bit more advanced than that, and if we can expect a little bit more than that, and I will definitely be checking that out. That's the other thing I like. Their price points are always really, really well done. So anyway, hopefully by the end of this month, being April 2024, you guys can pick up the A340. I'll definitely be checking it out because it's another 4-engine bird. We need a new 4-engine long haul, and it'll just be fun. I think the 4 engines where they really shine is the external views. There's something about it, especially like when you're doing the taxis up to the gate or coming around the corner onto the runway or even onto the taxiway off the ramp. Like seeing those big wings just swing out. I don't know. I like it. Anyways, so let's move forward. Last on our list today is the Flight Sim Expo 2024. You guys, Overkill Simulations is going to be there. I'm going to be there in full swag. I'm actually going to try to make a custom design shirt that says something to the effect of "I am Overkill." A lot of people were wondering, how to find me, right? So I'm going to come up with something that clearly identifies me as Overkill because I'd love to meet more of you guys. Check out the page here. There's a link to it down in the description below. If you guys are interested in registering, make sure you use my link down below. And really all it does is it saves you a little bit of cash and lets them know that I'm the one who told you about the expo, because I'm sure I'm the only one. Anyway, makes me feel good, right? So they've already started to announce exhibitors and seminars, and now they are announcing different opportunities and activities that we can all do together. That might be fun to set up as a channel here. Maybe one of their, I think there's going to be an air traffic control tower tour, and usually they do a couple of other things throughout the weekend, like an all night or a late night get together after hours kind of thing. I'd be totally down to do something like that. So if you guys are interested in hanging out with the old Overkill here, or just checking out new hardware, new software, seminars on how to build the best sim pits and your own hardware and ground traffic and handling ATC, they just do tons of stuff. It is far beyond just checking out new hardware, walking around like it's a swap meet, playing with something, and then walking to the next station. There is way more to do than that. So make sure you also do your research. Really look at the website, read the different activities, look at the scheduling. And that way you get the most out of the experience. And as you guys can see, this year it's going to be at none other than Sin City itself. Viva Las Vegas. Drink responsibly. Okay. Anyways, as always, guys, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.